Hey folks, it's Taking It Down. We hope to alleviate the pain of TV being entirely too widespread. What's worth your time and not? We'll do a non-spoiler section to talk about that, and then afterward we'll talk about a couple things that are specific and considered to be spoilers. Thanks for tuning in. This week we are talking about little politics to begin, honestly. There's some politics involved with television this week, with PBS and with the announcements from Stephen Colbert. We'll briefly discuss the smart move by Netflix for Stranger Things. And still in non-spoilers, we'll talk about the Owen Wilson series Stick as it almost winds down. And we'll talk about one more episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia of this new season. Let's go ahead and begin the show.
Alabama take projection.
Oh, hello, everyone. If we're a little late, it's because we're doing this on Monday rather than Sunday. So we'll try. Let's start with the bad news first. As a host, I tried my damnedest not to get political, although all art is political.
I've been told that.
Thank you, Matt Zoller Seitz, for that one. Politics have come to our turf by cutting funding to public broadcasting.
Yeah, indeed.
They've reached us where we sit and don't move much. We do television and streaming, but here we go. PBS is television and streaming.
This is going to sound probably like cranky old manism, but like there is no children's programming like PBS. Not really.
There's not.
Have you seen the stupid stuff kids want to watch on YouTube?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of screaming.
Yeah, it's a lot of vying for your attention. It's occasionally you get some well-meaning people who are actually making just a little money, because of YouTube. Yeah, you're right.
Frankly, it's profit driven, so it's whatever is going to keep our little monkey brains going.
Of course.
Whereas opposed to something like Arthur or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood could slow down a teeny tiny bit and give kids a chance to think.
Well, I just think we've reached an age, and maybe it's reversible, but I don't think there'll ever be another Mr. Rogers.
I don't either. I hate to say it.
My daughter watched YouTube for a while, and we tried to limit it, and we tried to figure some deals out, and we finally just deleted it from the Roku and deleted it from her iPad. She can watch it under the supervision of a parent when she's at her grandparents, so it's a treat for grandparents.
Yeah.
And she normally doesn't watch anything bad, but just the algorithm sends you
that
down
algorithm
things.
Is pernicious.
It's so evil.
But folks who have researched this, have looked at that algorithm, and they find that people just kind of like in our one of our best from earlier this year, adolescence. One of the things that kind of you start watching something that's innocuous, and 3 videos later, you've got someone who's like, the Holocaust didn't happen, and women want to be dominated, and they're being passive. They're just getting this stuff without realizing what it is.
Yep. We even tried YouTube Kids, and it was, it's better, but it's still a lot of kids opening boxes of toys that ends up just basically being a 30-minute commercial.
That's what I was, honestly, one of the things I was thinking of is these kids that are basically, it's what I said when I mean, it's trying to sell you something. They want your money and your attention. At this point in its history, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting probably also wants your money.
That's true.
Seeing as they lost a couple billion the other day. But I mean, really, if you watch Sesame Street, Sesame Street toys, do they sell? Yes. Is the point of Sesame Street to sell a Tickle Me Elmo? Not at any part of it.
I don't think so. I cannot tell you all the hours I spent watching PBS from a baby until 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, yeah.
But that was a time we only had 3 channels, 4 on the clear nights. Sesame Street, I guess, is partly funded now by Netflix. It used to be housed and helped by HBO Max or Warner Brothers. So I guess I want to ask you, does it even matter? I know that people could lose jobs. Let's just assume, let's take that out of the equation. Let's just talk TV and streaming, what we're watching, which is where we make our claims. Assuming people can switch over to somewhere it's making similar shows, educational type stuff on Netflix, does it matter?
Yeah, it matters.
Okay.
We've lost something that was a public good that was available for you if you could get a TV set and an antenna. As to now that's something that's locked up behind a streamer. That their money is tied to corporate dictates. And here's the thing: Netflix does not care. They don't care about it. They don't have like a set of like values.
Okay.
They're just here to make money.
And I'm with you 100%. I'm not arguing against you at all. But I'm just curious, do the shows that are on PBS carry any weight as they did when we were kids?
Well, I don't know. I don't have a child.
Yeah.
I don't.
My daughter did watch some PBS stuff fairly recently in the last couple of years, and she dug them for a while. You know, she does the kid thing where she wants to watch every episode of every season on repeat, you know.
Of course.
Loop through them. And she did that a couple of times with some PBS.
The issue is almost that, like, there's no alternative. Like, this is what you get. If you don't like it, tough. There's nothing else out there.
Oh, yes.
You know, we see this with movies, right? Like, the people have run the numbers on the mid-range kind of like adult movie is almost dead. Yeah, completely dead. You know, it's all blockbusters or maybe a little indie film. You know, we see this in music, right? It's so you get the Taylor Swifts of the world, and there's nothing for anyone else. So people literally can't afford to keep going and making music. It just shuts down possibilities, I think, for us.
I like your point. And a parallel bit of news this week was Stephen Colbert announcing to his audience the shocking news that his show will be completely off the air in May. Not him. Late Night, which launched in 1993 with Letterman. And I think they might have had, I don't think they had anything in place until 93. I think that was their launch with David Letterman. They scooped him from NBC. Anyway, that's old news. But, you know, it's more complicated than anything I would want to discuss here. But the higher-ups at CBS, owned by Paramount, say it's money. And those in the know say it's a wish to get the Trump administration's approval of a merger with Paramount and Skydance. So I'm simplifying some of this. Trump and company would allow if people like Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart were not on CBS or Comedy Central. Again, those are all owned by Paramount, because they bash Trump's ignorance and his silly policies and his dangerous and stupid policies. And when you view it in that lens, it's quite the irony that Trump calls the guy running for mayor in New York City a communist.
First off,
he doesn't know what words mean. First,
I saw someone was talking at one point. I don't have this exactly right, but the predilection of the American right to like start screaming and pointing and saying socialism about something is like somebody who's like morbidly obese being like, maybe I should get off the couch and try and run a little bit. And they're like, oh, you're training for a marathon. You'll never make, like, just the compare. It's like real socialists hate the people that you all are calling socialists. Let's dial it back a little bit. Like if you knew how much real socialists hate liberals, you would, you know, it puts you in mind of that, you know, Timothy Snyder, the historian at Yale, who writes really good histories about this, about European history. But he had his little kind of rules for tyranny book, and one of the lessons is don't comply in advance. He was saying in his studies he would find that people would often do what they imagined the authoritarian regime would ask them to do without having to be asked. They did it for themselves, and this feels like a comply in advance, right?
Yeah,
like he called it a bribe on air. Well, we don't really care about free speech, but we do care about that 5% bonus we're all going to get. So he's out. It's all out.
Yeah, the Redstone family who own Paramount could receive $2.4 billion for the sale to Skydance, which can only happen if this is approved. And his administration, him being Trump, his administration is probably only going to approve it, or they would be more likely to approve it if the likes of Colbert and Jon Stewart were not on the air telling them, or telling some people, that they're silly.
Yeah, our government is linked to one person's whims, one person's feelings, and I think any sense that there's some sort of greater public good is really not there in the administration. It's us or them. Yeah. There's like, if I got hit by a car tomorrow, I don't think I'd get like a nice phone call or something. I think they'd be like, "Hey, you shouldn't have registered Democrat. That's what he gets."
Yeah. In case you're wondering, the news isn't your thing, by the way, I get it. Colbert does very well for a late night show, and he's almost always at the top of the three of them.
He is the number one.
It's not performance. You can't blame it there. If you think Colbert on TV talking, making jokes, and bashing Trump verbally is worse than what Trump does as far as what he likes as policy, you're a dumbass.
The other thing I always appreciate about Colbert is that he seems like, of all the late night hosts, the one that you could stand to spend like 5 minutes with, because like he seems to have actually like thought about life and had like ideas about stuff and seems interested. You know, like he's an interesting person.
His one-on-one interviews do seem a little more philosophical, or at least thoughtful. I don't know. They all seem okay. I'm not going to bash the guys, but
no. But I'm just he's my. Everyone else is fine. He's my favorite of them. I don't watch a lot of.
He is really into theologism.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, from his remove.
I'm just. This is gonna. We're gonna get some fan letters about this one.
Yeah.
I'd rather hang out with Colbert than Kimmel.
I would hang out with Kimmel.
I wouldn't. Like, if he asked me to come, like, hey, Donovan, you want to hang out or whatever, man, I wouldn't be like, no, Jimmy, I hate you. No, I'd hang out with him.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose between the two, it's Colbert.
It's funny that out of the two, going way back in the day, speaking of our age, of the two, that Kimmel turned out to be the little bit more sane than Dr. Drew. Yeah. Isn't that, who would have said that in the 90s?
I know. I have nothing against Jimmy Kimmel. I think he's, this is why I say we're going to get fan letters. I think he's really good at his job, and I think he's really funny.
Yeah.
And I guess really what I'm saying is anything but the Tonight Show.
Okay. I'm kind of with you. Not our usual forte to handle this much news or even previews, which is something I'm going to shift to, but Netflix sounds as if they're going to do something beautiful with a release schedule. Believe it or not, I'm saying the words. Makes you wonder why they don't do it more often, i.e. every show. But Stranger Things 5 will have a few episodes on Thanksgiving of this year or thereabouts, more on Christmas or thereabouts, and then the finale actually on New Year's Eve.
I saw that.
What a pleasant way to dole out a final season. You know, Christmas and New Year's especially are either for moviegoers or football or NBA fans. And hell, we've even struggled with topics in the weeks of Christmas. So, smart move, Netflix.
I think Netflix understands that at a certain point, no matter how much you love your family, it's easier to point at the TV screen and say, oh, that was a damn good play, than to like have any kind of other conversation with them. So I think this is really smart.
Last year did the Nate Bargatze special, his new one, and that's a very family-friendly comedy. We honestly watched it with my daughter and my niece and everything. We were just there in front of the TV for an hour and a half, and we didn't have to come up with something to do. And we laughed.
Speaking of this isn't around Christmas, but I have FX has got one teed up that, oh man, I want it to be good. It's coming out in August.
Is this Alien? The new
Alien Earth.
Yeah.
Noah Hawley.
Yes.
Noah Hawley is kind of overseeing it. Mm-hmm. Alien franchise is one I feel very fondly for. Mm-hmm. And like the behind the scenes photos, it looks really good.
Yeah. I recently interviewed Matt Zoller-Seitz, the critic.
Yes.
Nudge, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Go watch Short Takes
on
YouTube.
Yeah, you all watch that because that's awesome stuff right there.
Thank you. But yeah, he brought that up as hopeful.
Yeah.
As being maybe something that could be in a franchise yet interesting.
When you have the touchstones of those first two movies, Alien and Aliens, which, yes, well, Alien didn't know it was in a franchise yet. Aliens did. But they're still darn good. And they've got a lot to say about a lot of different things. And also,
really? Because I've never gotten into them. No, really? I'm being sincere. I never have. I just avoided them somehow or another. It's just sometimes that happens.
One of the things I've always liked about them, and I think it's something we could use a little bit more of in this day and age, is its overarching distrust of corporate interests.
That's embedded in Alien franchise?
That is embedded because...
Huh, how so? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Are we in the spoiler section here?
No, we're not.
Okay, well, can I spoil a movie that came out like 50 years ago?
Like in 1998, yeah.
Well, the first Alien.
Yeah, the first Alien. When was it? 78? 88?
Yeah, like 78. You said 98. So they get diverted. The alien the thing gets loose on their ship, right?
Right.
So they get diverted to pick it up because their company wants them to pick it up, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh.
And then they find out during the course of this that the first officer, the science officer, is an android. He's been placed there. Yeah, he's been placed there by the company.
I do know the plot details. Now that you're talking about them.
So he's been placed there by the company because they want this sample to survive. And then even more explicitly, in Aliens, there's a the company's called Weyland-Yutani or something like that.
Okay.
In Aliens, there's a guy from the company who's specifically there trying to get these things as weapons, xeno weapons.
I knew the what. I never knew the why.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's great gross scene where Ripley ends up killing the android by battering his head off with
Is she in the armored
fire extinguisher?
Oh,
no, she's and it's such great prosthetic stuff because it's like his head comes off and he's got like it separates from his body. There's milky fluid that's supposed to be kind of like his blood. He can eat, right? He can eat to keep his cover, so the spaghetti that he ate has like come out. It's just
sounds like a Cronenberg movie.
These are great. It is a great film. Aliens is also great. Those are two solid classics.
Well, that was a lot of preamble. We're not trying to run anyone off, but we'll get into what we actually want to pick apart and discuss. Probably not a lot on the non-spoiler side, so let's just tee them up here. On Apple TV Plus, the Owen Wilson-led golf series Stick continues to its penultimate episode, and not something I thought we'd get a lot of mileage out of, but here we are. It's the penultimate episode of the first season. I've heard nothing so far, but it does seem like a show that Apple would want to renew. I
mean, I assume these have got to be like the easiest decisions in the world to make, right? Because you're not network TV having to like depend on the Nielsen's or whatever. You know exactly how many people watched your show. So I'm assuming if it hits some kind of threshold, we'll have a second season. And if Apple this is kind of like the Netflix game where it's like, can you really trust that like their top 10 is really really the top 10?
I wonder that, but apparently it is, right?
Well,
the news is.
You can't really say. It's hard to say because
who can say?
They're the only one. They control their own figures and what they, they don't have to. So same thing for Apple. If we can believe any of its own top 10, it's been pretty high for a couple weeks now. It's been number 1 or 2. So I probably hit that threshold if that's accurate.
My guess would be that Owen Wilson might be the only linchpin, but what does he have going on? I guess I hate to say it like that, but this would be a good vehicle for him for a few years. You
don't think Mark Maron has so much? I almost called. I need to like every time I almost call someone else's name, I need to write it down so we can at the end of the year
we can go
run through the funniest because I almost called Mark Maron Mac DeMarco there. Two M's, I guess. Yeah. But you think Mark Maron doesn't have better things going on? You think this is all he can get?
No, he's closing the doors on the podcast. I bet he's got most of those recorded.
Oh, I'm sure he's probably just about done, especially if he's able to commit to filming a show.
Mm-hmm. The show, Stick, I thought, continued to build upon that 8th episode and even had some similar movements. It used like something that was kind of standard and expected, but to good effort.
I agree.
We'll get into the what and the why in a little bit. And we'll also talk a little on the most recent episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Last week, we talked about how the show's the longest running scripted series on TV, and it just gives them a plethora of jokes to mention if they want. And they do it fairly judiciously. If someone hasn't watched the series, I don't think all of the jokes would fly over anyone's head. However, it is very rich in continuing or calling back, like a lot of good comedies. They build upon something that was already funny. And as for this one, the main comedy's there in the title, Mac and Dennis Become EMTs. I mean, without knowing anything about the episode, this will work on at least a minimum, which is that Dennis and probably Mac have hardly ever wanted to do anything for the betterment of society.
Absolutely.
Mac, maybe.
Mac is maybe. He seems more interested in flexing.
He's pretty self-centered, but he's not as selfish as Dennis.
Well, Dennis is obviously, I think without doubt, we can say that Dennis is the worst of all of them.
Oh, yeah. And the smartest, which is...
Well, he's killed the most.
That's right. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we'll get into the specifics from each of these episodes of Stick In, It's Always Sunny. Folks, if you want to know more about the Alabama Take and taking it down in general, you can subscribe to the newsletter. That way you won't have to rely on social media at all. Just check your email every now and again, and you'll get what's going on at the Alabama Take and with Taking It Down and with the other podcast and with the writing. Click on newsletter and sign up. All right, let's talk about Stick on Apple TV Plus. This one was likely full of guest stars, but knowing nothing about golf. They could have stuck Tiger Woods in there, and I might have missed him.
So for the first one that came up, I was watching with my wife. She's like, "Is that a real person?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Well, no." I'm like, "Fortunately, they had Santi like say the name of everyone he's meeting, so that you know like who it is." Because yeah, you could have. They have like Scotty Scheffler like signed on that list. Like, I don't know what that guy looks like. I don't watch golf. It's boring.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. I did recognize Jim Nance, who's great. Who's a great.
I did
get.
recognize. Yep, Jim Nance.
Now he's a get for the
other
authenticity.
stuff. Yeah.
At this point, it does seem like a looming question on why Price isn't playing. I'm glad that the cameo golfers ask him.
Yeah.
Are you here to play? And he says, "Nah, I'm just." I mean, it seems like a looming question if they're asking it.
I mean, if he could skip his ball across water and right.
Yeah.
I kind of had that thought too, where it's like, I wonder if they'll be more explicit with. We're in spoilers, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, okay, good. I've lost my train of thought for a minute. Now that Santi's dad has showed up, I wonder if they'll be a little bit more specific with like he's not playing because Santi is how old his kid would be, and he's getting to be a dad in a way that he never got to be. I don't know, and maybe I'm on maybe I'm completely wrong about that. Maybe he's like, it turns out that he does so much meth he can't even. Like that was what was lurking in the in the background the whole time. I don't know.
It's funny and nice to see those real golfers play a little bit of awestruck of Owen Wilson and his character's Price. Price's ability to draw awe out of young golfers is still intact. I like that.
Yeah, no, it was cool.
One of the reasons why Timothy Oliphant plays a perfect villain, or even a great lead who's had a history, is that he's serpentine. And
he seems so charming, doesn't he?
He's up to something, but he's so charming. He's charming the pants off of you as he's doing it. And as a counterpoint to Owen Wilson, who's doing something kind of similar in his all shucks way.
Yeah, yes.
And it's just such a mirror. Here's Clark, who is, he's up to something, but you just can't help it. And then here's Price, who he's up to something, but he's so funny.
This is the only thing that this show has really not convinced me on. And I think this is because Owen Wilson is so darn likable that even when he's doing stuff that you're like, okay, that's kind of objectively bad, or he has the thing that's like, everyone's so down on, you don't really he doesn't really ever feel like he's doing anything that bad. You're just like, that lovable scamp, I'd let him do whatever.
Why is everyone so down on shortcuts?
Exactly. He's
got a good point there.
He made a good point about the Panama Canal.
You know what else is a shortcut? The Panama Canal.
That's pretty good, Owen Wilson.
Oh, come on.
That's pretty good.
Clark's pitch to Santi is valid because Price is a shortcut fella.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an argument of resources, which should never be a fact despite it always being a factor in real life. I mean, look at college football and the NIL. Look who gets elected. Or even better, who can run for office even.
Sure.
It's a matter of resources.
Who gets elected, college football, who can afford to be a musician, things like that.
Yeah. While Clark has a point, it's also a bit of real life in that he invested his money wisely, and you can make that argument, or because he wasn't as successful as Price, turned his money around, I guess.
Well, he won, and the big one that he won because of Price.
Right, because
if I remember correctly. 'Cause
like there's a little something we don't know there.
he said something to make a meltdown, basically.
I thought it to be an odd choice to have Price's wife come to the tournament. I'm on board for having something for such a good actor to do, but the logic of it was so questionable.
I mean, it was nice, and I guess it gave Price an opportunity to kind of
to show some growth. Do you think?
I guess. I mean, which was nice. Although the words I'm not sure I buy it seem like way too harsh for this, but also I'm kind of like, do we all buy it? Like, these people have been together for like 3 weeks and Price has already changed this much. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. And the reason I say that it's not fair is because that the show isn't interested in that and doesn't care, and frankly, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to put it in a box it doesn't want to be in. But I was kind of like, wow, he showed that much growth, and he had like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. This episode does a lot of what the last one does. It uses these sports and film tropes, but it's worked on getting you to the point where you feel like you know and pull for a lot of these characters well enough. There's Santi at that 12th hole. Price offers him advice he could reject, and the music stops so you can hear the sound editing give you that loud swing from Santi, and he lands it. But there are steps to it. Like, that's just one swing on one hole. You know, he's not in the clear. It's okay television. It's pretty good television with using what has been done and applying it to these characters, because I think it's doing it late enough in its first season run. Like, if it did this in episode 2, we would not probably buy Santi as a guy we're rooting for yet, or even Price.
Yeah, agreed. It's again going to sound like damning with faint praise, but like, it's a well-made show. Mm-hmm. It's not doing anything you've never seen before, but like, as a show, it's well made. It's got a good cast, and like if you're not seeing like the most new and innovative thing in the world, you are seeing something put together competently and done competently.
Yeah, I was impressed how they got me to know exactly what was going to happen and still be fairly engaged.
Yeah, I think it's casting. I think every plot is pretty predictable, and that's fine sometimes.
Yeah, it does have a ounce of weight when it comes to the generational gap being a bit of a motif. So I think it can be obvious, but I do think it might be trying something here.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it's obvious, of course, Mitz checks with 0, but the writers had them go through a few things to get there. And when it comes to the generational gap story between fathers and sons, it works there too a little bit.
Yes, it does.
That's Mackenzie Aston. I don't know if I've ever said his name. He shows up as Santi's dad.
Yes.
Wasn't his dad the lead in the Addams Family show years ago? Isn't that his heritage?
Is that his heritage?
I think so.
His heritage.
Anyway, having him show up as Santi's dad, we thought that the dad would show up, but Santi's reaction was the surprise here. Did you think he would be a kid who's actually missed his father, and some of the stuff it was just bluster?
No, and they did a good job with that. And the kid's good. I say the kid, he's probably like older than me. The guy who plays Santi is good. He's good at stuff like this. He's good at seeming like a kid, where kids will often, well, I mean, in all people, but kids especially will often really blow something up, right? Because everything is life or death. And then, maybe that's not the way they actually felt.
Yeah. It's a different angle for a show to do rather than teen angst, though.
Well, he got to take out we already saw his teen angst with Price.
Yeah, it's kind of avoided a lot of the teen angst stuff except for him and Price.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they felt like that was the counterpoint.
And that could be written off to being frustrated with golf.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever tried to swing a golf club, you might act childish.
Many people do.
Yeah.
What is it about the sport of golf that so many people who are so great at other sports, they just love it? Like Nick Saban loves golf.
I guess the precision.
Yeah. Who like Tony Romo loves golf.
Oh yeah, just name the people. They love golf.
Even like
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley is like famously bad at it, loves it.
But loves it.
Loves it.
Yeah.
It's just so fascinating to me.
In an episode about shortcuts, there is some sly humor at play having Sante jump to the second place without showing any of that around. I thought that was... If you're going to give credit where it's due, that's it.
They understand my attention span for the actual game of golf.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really want to see it. I don't really want to see it.
Yeah. In fast motion, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's split our time here a little and go to some of what's going on with It's Always Sunny.
Yes, yeah.
The third episode. What a great callback to have Frank poke the guy in the coma because he questions if he's cake too.
This is why Frank is one of the best, because he's just checking.
Is it too soon to make this kind of callback for?
I didn't think so. I thought it was just right, because it's like, it's not something they need to repeat all the time, but coming right on the heels of what Frank had just done, it's obviously fresh in his mind and our minds.
Yeah. Well, then they also pair it with the lawyer, who we haven't seen.
We haven't seen him for a while.
And he looks so different.
It is a recurring. It's a recurring bit, but it still kind of gets me. In Sunny, where every time they've like a lot of times where they've done something that's really screwed up someone's life, they just can't remember that person at all.
Yes,
like they're so selfish and self-involved that they're just, like Frank's getting. He's like, I was attacked by a bird in a courtroom. He's like, can you be more specific? Like he just has no idea because he doesn't care.
Dennis's reaction shot to Mac's inclusion of peppers at the training. It's hilarious.
This is another thing that they do such a good job of on this show, where it's like, because, you know, they are reminded that peppers exist because Frank feeds a ghost pepper to the random patron, and,
yes.
and he has to. So like, they're so good at like, I think we talked last week mentioned last week the New York Times article that talks about how cathartic this show is. And I think one part of its catharsis is how like stupid and like little of an attention span they have.
Yes.
Where Frank will like feed someone a pepper and then that's all they can think. Like they see peppers and they see EMTs and they're so dumb they just have to combine them for the rest of the episode. It's such a good, it's really like feels like a cultural indictment. We can only remember the last 35 minutes of our lives.
That's right. They never bother to learn a name, as you mentioned, as a running joke that they're so self-centered. The lawyer, the waitress, and then they call this guy the jazz man or the jazz guy. Just because they think he plays jazz.
I think talking about this show can really turn into the Chris Farley, like, you were in the Beatles.
Oh God, yeah,
that was cool.
Yes, but
I feel like the the intro, like between this is the jazz man, Frank fed him a pepper, and then Mac being like everyone's like, how did he get in here? And Mac being like, we are an open bar.
He has to keep reminding him.
The combination of all these things together, it's like really strong opening.
Do peppers make you trip out? Like, is that something I don't know?
I mean, you can actually get hurt from like a really spicy pepper, but I don't think you can like
have hallucinations.
I do. You're right. I do believe that if you like chomped on a bunch of jalapenos, you would be on your bike too fast, screaming habanero or whatever. Have you ever had a pepper that's too hot?
Mm-mm.
I have by accident once gotten, and it's so, it's like, have you ever accidentally gotten too much horseradish or something like that? Okay, because it will make your ears hurt.
Really?
Like your ear, well, ENT, right? It's all connected. But yeah, this was what surprised me. It's like I could feel like my ear canals hurt because of what was going on with my, everything. And like my sinuses. It's like, yeah, peppers can really.
I thought they were making a joke on and they are on the societal thing that everybody's microdosing, especially on the West Coast.
Absolutely.
What was it? Dennis's explanation was you take 10%.
100%.
100% of the time instead of 100%, 10% of the time.
It's such a stupid analogy. It almost is like logic puzzle paradox stupid. Like it's so good.
Anyway, I don't know what it was about Dennis making chest compressions horribly fast while insisting he's correct. That the image is still funny, and of course being high on peppers, which they were.
Peppers.
And then of course there's the line of the episode, which was from Charlie. He wants to be called chef. Another cultural riff from the bear. But why do you want to be called chef in your apartment? And he says, because the stakes are raised. It raises the stakes. It's another moment of simplification from them, of course, but they use the bear's cultural importance. But it does almost work a little as a riff on like The Pit and other ubiquitous 911 shows on Fox or wherever.
This really made me laugh. First, because it's a very good bear nod without feeling like they're chasing any kind of relevancy, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But, right, like he wants to be called Yes Chef because it raised the stakes. And then if you see like the way that they show and film Charlie is he's like frantic in his little kitchen area, but he's doing it to himself.
Yeah.
There's no
one.
There's no need for him to like slam the fries down and do everything. Like there's absolutely no urgency. He's just cooking a burger for Frank. So
you're right.
That is almost like a commentary on like the bear, where it's like, it's almost like you could look at some of this and be like, you guys are doing it to yourselves.
Yes.
That made me really laugh.
It's comic genius because you strip the metaphor away from the bear, so that it's only the self-importance that's left. And
it's just Charlie running back and forth in his little kitchen.
And as he says, it's life or death.
It's life or death.
And then you combine it with literal life and death, with them cooking food, delivering food, and rescuing people all in the ambulance.
Man, I was waiting for that hot oil to splash on someone.
You knew. And yeah, you're right. It's the editing, it's the camera work. It makes it so much more funnier. What a coincidence. I was watching the episode in the middle of the day, and it got to a part where Dennis, Mac, Charlie, and Dee are all just pounding peppers and profusely sweating. And an ambulance came down my street with sirens full blast. And I could not tell if it was the show or reality, and I had to pause to see. It's like, is the ambulance coming to save them? The B plot was probably the weakest. I guess that's the lawyer. Him in and of himself isn't their greatest creation, but it does give some nice bits, like Frank eating spicy chili in front of a lawyer with a wide open, disgusting mouth. It was
good, sunny, just showing what a gross troll Frank is. And it's the punchline of the episode, but them leaving the lawyer there after their ambulance blows up.
So he gets the one blame, puts him down. They never face consequences.
He gets in trouble. It made me laugh.
Yeah, it's good.
Something about the action scene of the ambulance blowing up and like flipping into pieces, and then cutting to the lawyer who's badly injured and is now facing consequences.
The gang usually doesn't face consequences. Every now and again they have to go do something, community service or whatever, but yeah.
I think the show knows that like their punishment is being themselves. Yeah. Really? Like that's like being themselves, being the only friends that any of them has. Right. Like that's bigger punishment than almost anything that could be done to them.
Yeah. I think that brings us to the end here.
I got to look at a few more reviews for this, but I was intrigued based on a novel, which was very well reviewed, which I have not read, sadly. Washington Black.
Yes.
That seemed like it could possibly be interesting.
I haven't seen any trailers or reviews for it, but
I've seen a couple reviews that seem positive.
All right. We may take it on. Washington Black on Hulu. It was on my radar as well. So we'll see if it turns out into something. I think they're dropping all episodes at once there.
That's my understanding. Not our favorite way to do things, but
there are only 8, so we'll see.
Yes.
More on that later. We've reached the end here, and for Adam in England, who's over in England there, the UK, and for Donovan, I'm Blaine, and we hope you don't macrodose when you should be microdosing.
That's really all we can hope for you.